Alright, so on the play against an unknown, which happened to be Death and Taxes, which I didn't know first time playing this person, and this hand is amazing, but it's playable, and that's what I'm usually looking for, so I kept it. It's actually really good against Death and Taxes. It's not the best against Death and Taxes, actually. It's good against, like a slow deck or, some type of control. They kept 7. I'm leading here with Flooded Strand in case I wanted to sword something. Like I said, I didn't know it was against Death and Taxes. Once I saw the plane, it was going to be a good guess that it was either Death and Taxes, or every time I see planes, I just think Death and Taxes. Could be Stoneblade, but they usually play 2 or 3 planes, I should know. So here is going to be Island. There we go. Island Ponder. Alright, so this was an interesting one. I really wanted to play the long game. They didn't do anything here, which tells me that they're not playing Vial unless they draw it next turn. They might have like a Thalia. I want to play out my land. I have plenty of land there. So I actually didn't mind these. Plus, this is extra removal. Even if they do play Thalia, I'll have plenty of mana to cast it. And this is also going to be another white for planes. I don't remember the exact order I did. This isn't obviously the best against Death and Taxes, but by choosing to keep this, that means I really want to push into the late game. Like, I don't have a lot of action, but I can stop a lot of what they're going to be doing. So it was councils, I believe, let's see, Arid and Jace. I kept Jace because if I wanted to Force of Will something, that was the option. And that is perfect. And they did absolutely nothing, which is even more perfect because now they're playing into my hand. Like, I have nothing going on, and every turn I can just play land, 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 land. So now I'm really happy that I kept that because now I get my other planes. They can tap that, sure. Let's play Arid Mesa, go. Then under that I had Council's Judgment. Okay, I could Force of Will this, but I really don't care about it. It's only going to be doing 2 damage. Obviously, I can't Swords it once it's in. They can do the Caracas trick, but I have no problem with that. The Thalia tax is not going to be a big deal when it's, it's 4th turn for me, and look how many lands I have. So, can't Swords it, can't Councils. Well, I mean, I can, but it's probably not going to be a very good play. So this is like the game I like playing. It's more of let's see what they're gonna do and then control it from there. So let's see what they got. Very smart of them. Oh, I was gonna say very smart of them tapping both of their planes, but that's fine. In case I played back to basics. I don't care about this. I have ways of dealing with the creatures to remove them. They're probably getting SoFi, which obviously I knew, but it's usually a good choice. And here, actually, I believe, let's see, I did want to Swords this, although it's not the best play in the world, because what that allows to happen next turn, they can bring it in and equip it, and I don't want that to happen. So, like I said, I'm pretty much making them play my game. So now I'm just going to Swords that. This is usually not a good exchange, because they're getting a card out of it, but it doesn't matter as much when you're playing the role I'm doing. You're going to see in another game where they do that to me, and it doesn't work as well based upon the board setup. So fetching there, fetching here, and just playing a land because I want to play Jace. Alright, so the cool thing about this is that now this is on the board, they're going to have to focus on this. So I could obviously either Brainstorm or I can bounce this. I like the tempo when it comes to bouncing it. I figured that wouldn't be a bad play. Obviously, the only thing they're going to be able to do against this main deck is going to be a, Revoker, which I can remove. So I don't mind the tempo play of bouncing this. I could have Brainstorm there first, and then obviously they would attack me. And then if I went to, bounce it, it would die, but that's the way I played it. And they do have a Sword of Fire and Ice, which they can't cast because they would need one more. Okay, and so they did have that. That's fine. But I have a lot of land, and that's obviously very good. So that's a really good draw. So the thing here is that if I get rid of this, this opens up this, and this would cost 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have 1 land open, and I have an extra plane. So I can actually Councils, Brainstorm, throw away the crap, and then Stoneforge. So I like that. So let's get rid of the Revoker. I was hoping they would bring this back to their hand just in case they thought I was actually going to kill it or remove it. Anyway, now we can Brainstorm. Okay, wow, that's not bad. So here, I don't like the island. That's going to be an easy one to throw back. Considering I do have a Jace, The other two cards that can go back are either going to be, just watching this now, it's a pick out of these three. So first it's going to be Island. I don't want that. Brainstorm, I do have Jace, but it can die, so I'm not. Plus I have a stacked hand. Plus I like having Force of Will. I know I'm going to be tapping out this turn, but however, after that, Force becomes very helpful when you control the game and you just want to make sure they're playing things that aren't all that relevant. Plus they don't have a Vial, so I can force a lot of things. So here it was just Island and Brainstorm, I believe. Yes, now we're playing Flooded Strand. I do play 3 planes, which is good to know. They do have a Wasteland in play, so let's play this. Let's get our Haymaker, number 1, Jitte. Okay. Alright, and that's fine. See, like, this is actually a good time to do that because now they can, attack this. Plus, they start off with 4 swords in their deck. If I was playing Death and Tax and I was playing against Stoneblade, I'd probably take out most, if not all of them. I mean, all they're hitting really is Snapcaster and, what's it called, Stoneforge? Sure, I can't counter that because not like I want to, but oh my goodness, look at that. I was really hoping for a land here because obviously this is 3, that's 6, and I need 1 more for the Thali attacks. So land here is awesome. It's not, that's fine. I could technically kill 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I can't play True-Name. I want to play True-Name because regardless, this is going to block this. And even if, let's see, this is 3, this costs 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So pretty much they would need another land to play and cast that. And even if they do, I'm not too worried about that. So here what I want to do is True-Name. And to make use of my mana, I remember clicking on Back to Basics, and I was like, oh, come on. I knew about that, but it's just so tempting. It's a good thing I got all those lands, though. Either way, I wanted to make use of my mana. I'm not too worried about countering anything here, because anything they play I can just remove if I need to. Sure. Did they draw an extra land, is the question. They did not. Fine by me. Nice, so this is great. So what I can do here, first I want to actually equip Jitte. Let's do that. Let's attack. Like, I don't want to play Back to Basics there because when I go to kill this, they can Caracas this and it makes Back to Basics much more backbreaking. So, like I said, you're always giving them the least amount of information as possible. So now let's go to kill this, assuming they can bounce it. And they actually didn't. I found that really weird. Maybe they didn't know about it. Maybe they just didn't care. Maybe they have another one. But the reason, that was why I went to kill that. Hoping they would tap that. They didn't, which is fine. So now we can deliver the goods. So you got 3 lands, and only 2 of them untapped during your untap phase. In case you didn't know. Sure. Have an answer for that too. Sure. I have an answer for that too. And they only have 2 mana open. Okay, awesome draw. This is what I'm talking about. So, for example, I believe I attacked here just to actually give them any sort of thought that they might have had a chance here. You know, just attacking. I got nothing else to do. Let's add to my counters. Okay, and now we can get rid of the Revoker. This game was just like Removal City, and they had seen enough. Anyway, I would have killed that, and then I wouldn't have touched this. What I would have done, obviously the only way for them to stop this is get another Revoker. They don't play a main deck councils like I do, and what happens is when they go to equip any type of equipment to it, that's when you can kill. If they go to equip Jitte, that's fine, I let it happen. But if they go to equip this, I kill it immediately because it gets +2/+2. And pretty much at that point, since they don't have a vial, you're just waiting for them to do something, and then you're killing the creatures off as they go. And if they play something you don't want, pretty much you can Force of Will it. And next turn, pretty much I would have Hardcast Force, and this is just going to take over the game. So that was that. Let's move on to the best part of it, which is going to be sideboarding. So let's do that. So if there's any deck I would, love to play against, like just if I had to play 100 games against one deck, it would certainly be Death and Taxes. Ironically enough, I'd say it's kind of evenish when it comes to playing the deck. Obviously, they don't want True-Name and Jitte to happen, and they can deal with that with Council's Judgment, but a really good Death and Taxes player will do a great job at kind of locking you out, crippling your mana, and obviously I don't play many cards when it comes to Wasteland, so they can't really Wasteland me out, but Vials, Vile Tricks, getting value out of that is where they want to be. But either way, let's get into it. Clique is great. You can also use it when they go to activate Stoneforge. Don't like Containment Priest in this. Talked about it before. It doesn't really even trade with many creatures, even if you use it, so I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather have Disenchant and Nature's Chant, which are both instants, so I can use them when I want. Spell Snare I love. Not as good with Vile, but that's fine. I still bring it in. And, of course, we got Path to Exile. Okay, so those are going to be our 5 we are bringing in. Here I'm taking out Volk. Here I am taking out Pierce times 2. Here I'm also taking out Narset. Now I'll keep 2 Jaces in. Very simple here. Bringing these in. Those are coming out. Sort. And that's about as simple as it gets. I have 5 swords effects, which you're going to be seeing plenty of those, trust me. 2 back to basics you've probably seen before. This can work very well against Death and Taxes. Remember, they don't usually have fetch lands, so it's pretty random. It's about close to 50-50 in between non-basics and basic lands that they have. Everything else is great. Having Force of Wills is awesome. They are here, just hiding on you, It's great to have a card that you can say no to in terms of, controlling the game. Make sure they don't resolve Haymakers. You can force a Vial in the beginning if you want to play that game. Also, sometimes they bring in Cataclysm. Sometimes they bring in Gideon. These are cards you're going to want to force, most likely, or usually. But either way, that's it. Let's move to game number 2. All right, game number 2 on the draw against Death and Taxes. I really love this hand. We have 2 removals, Plains, Island, Polluted Delta, plus we have the Brainstorm, plus Island, plus Fetch Land combo. We can Force of Will something if we really want to, and I like this hand. I'd say without Brainstorm, this hand could be really bad. I've kept hands like this where there was no Brainstorm and say this was a land, and I remember one time against Death and Taxes, I never drew a threat the entire game, which kind of sucked. But that's kind of the times you can lose. I didn't feel like Force of Willing that. I let them have it, and I figured if that's the game they're going to want to play, that's fine. I want to get max value out of my Brainstorm, so that is why I decided to do that. Okay, we got another Plains. Cool. I like land. Delta go. They're not going to be playing Mother of Runes. Obviously it's not on 1, so I don't really care about having a Plains up. Sure. I guess it's a good thing I didn't force it after all, right? So now, hello swords. Now I'm in an interesting spot where I don't want to play an island. Obviously, if I play an island, that'll work perfectly for my Brainstorm because I can Brainstorm and shuffle stuff away. But if they play a Mom, that means I'm going to have to Delta for a Tundra. And obviously, they play Wasteland. They missed their land drop, but still. So the reasoning behind that is pretty much making me want to play a plane. So if they do play a Mom here, I can just plow it safely. And then next turn, I'll play my island, and then I can do my Brainstorm tricks. It appears that they did not have one, or maybe they just don't want to play it. I don't know. So, like I said, if there was a Mom, I had gotten a Tundra. That's no bueno. And here, once again, I am hitting my land drops. I am completely happy with nothing happening. Obviously, now it's on 2. If they had a Thalia, they probably already would have played it. So, end of turn, there's a good chance we're looking for some action here. So, like I said, if it was Thalia, they might have played it earlier just to tax me. So I didn't think it was. I didn't need to, fire off a Brainstorm. Even if it was a Thalia, I just pay 2. It's not a big deal. All right, cool. Stoneforge. And ironically enough, they got a Jitte. Jitte is not all that great against me. You're not going to be jitting True-Name anytime soon, and plus all my other little dinky creatures. So that means what I'm guessing is they might have like a Sophie in their hand. They might have a Batterskull. I wasn't sure if that was the case, but I did not feel the need to plow this at the time, so I just let that happen. Okay, 2 and 3. Okay, now we're brainstorming. Now we get to the fun part. Oh my goodness. Removal City. 4 of them. Okay. So this is a really good hand. And pretty much I want all of these because I want just in case, you know, Force of Will. I do like Force of Will. Keeping one in my hand allows me to play my control game where I can say no, no, no to something. But either way, here is Plains and Plains I'm putting back, and I'm not shuffling. Now, there is no rule when it comes to Brainstorm how you like have to shuffle. I see that all the time where people are like, I have such a good hand, I don't want to shuffle anything away. Then don't. Like, you don't have to. Consider it this way. If I put all these back, and I still want to play my lands because, you know, I have my hand is pretty much getting... I guess you could say land intensive, but if I put all these back and I shuffle them away, now I'm getting something random. Do you think I'm really going to get any cards that are better than this that I want right now? The answer is no, there isn't. I have everything I need. I pretty much want land. So what I'm doing here is putting Plains, and I'm not shuffling. Okay? Keep that in mind. Would there have been anything better than drawing that Plains right there? Like I said, pretty much the answer is going to be no. So now I can fetch, because what I want to do is play True-Name. So what that means, if they did have a Batterskull, I can Stonewall it. If they do have a Sword of Fire and Ice, they can bring it in and then equip it. I can always Swords it, so that was the reasoning behind that. Okay, and Jitte it is. I don't know, maybe they're being secretive about a different card they have, or they had a Batterskull. I don't know, but Jitte isn't the greatest tool to get. But sure. Okay. See what's going on here. Sure. Got it. Okay, so here what I want to do is actually land nothing. I am completely comfortable with just brick walling them. I have a ton of removal, and if you've noticed, I haven't touched anything yet because I don't need to. Once again, playing a control game is mostly about letting them act first and then getting the most amount of information and then doing what you need to do. Okay, so let's do what they need to do. Because imagine if I had randomly plowed that earlier, I would have just lost a ton of value. So I talked about this in game one. Plowing Stoneforge is usually not a good idea. However, at this point in the game, I am very well ahead. I have a serious amount of removal. So first I did want to plow this. It was just going to come back into play. They would have gotten, actually this might have been the reason why they got Jitte instead of another card, but still, I still think you go for Sword of Fire and Ice, or at least Batterskull there. I got rid of that so they wouldn't get more value out of it. Then I did kill this because it's going to piss me off. It's a flyer and they can equip this. I'm doing all this now because when they untap, if they have another Flicker Wisp, they can save their Flicker Wisp. I do also have Clique. I'm kind of looking to save this at a time where, say, I attack or they do something and they go to vial something in. That's when I can actually play Clique for that as well and, you know, take a creature as long as they don't have two that cost the same. And ironically enough, I never see this out of Death and Tax players. Every single turn, I would be bluffing something. End the turn, play 3. End the turn, play 2. I don't care how stupid it looks. When you do that, the opponent is never going to know when you actually have a creature until it's too late. Especially when equipment gets on the board. Like if I had a Jitte out here and there was a counter on it, and every turn I was always playing 3 or 2, you know, you don't know if I'm going to be putting in a Revoker. Until I put it into play, and then you can't react to it. So I'm very surprised people don't do that more often. It messes with people so much. Okay, cool. So here what we have, now we can actually attack. But here we're looking at playing Stoneforge. Here I'm getting Jitte. And that's not a good spot to use it. Like, that does absolutely nothing, pretty much. It now only solidifies the fact that I'm, like, 100% getting Jitte, as if I wasn't in the first place. You know, I could hard cast Batterskull, but see, like, by not having that card in play, like, that did absolutely nothing. I just gained a card, they lost a card, and having that on the battlefield or not doesn't matter. Completely different when I'm doing it because it plays against their strategy, like when they Flicker Wisp it. That's why I can actually say that. So this is actually an opportunity where I could have used Vendilion Clique, and assuming they don't have 2/3 drops, but I do have Swords and I do have Path to Exile open, so... Okay, and let's get rid of that because they attach this to it and it does a lot of damage. Plus, we want to plow this right now because, once again, if that last card is a Flicker Wisp and they untap, then they can actually save it. This person must be getting so frustrated, but there was like 2 Council's Judgments the first game, I think some Swords. There's 3 Swords there, and I still have a Path to Exile in my hand. Using this last so they don't get as much of an advantage out of it. And I didn't choose to play Jitte there because I did not. Oh, it's because actually I wanted to use Vendilion Clique. That's why. I ended up swordsing, obviously. Okay, cool. Not a bad draw, but it's going to cost 2 to play and 2 to equip, and I have 5 mana. So here I want to keep open a path. So I want to keep open plains. And let's attack. Let's see what they got. Okay. That's nice. And what they end up getting is Relic Order. Sure. You're going to play that. Sure. And they still have 1 unknown. Okay, that's fine. And here's the time where I can path this safely. Like if they have a Flicker Wisp or if they draw one is the only bad part, which wouldn't be the end of the world. So either way, if I path this, I know they're going to equip this. So one of those two things is going to happen, so I did decide to wait. They didn't show to have Flicker Wisp. I think last time when they could have used it. Oh, wait, no, I don't think I gave them a chance. So we're looking at like probably their top draw would be the only chance to get one, plus I swords 1. Depending on their build, they probably have 4 because I haven't seen any Squadron Hawks, so you got it. I don't mind taking damage here. I'm at 20 life. I don't mind them getting counters either, so they can do that. And end of turn, I am going to path this. No Flicker Wisp, which is nice. You can have your tapped plains. Give me my Jitte. Thank you very much. Okay, so here, this was going to be annoying, I know, because what would happen pretty much, either we're not going to be attacking at all, or I'm going to play this, I'm going to attack, I'm going to get counters, and then I can't kill this, because if I go to give it -1/-1, they can just give it +2/+2. So pretty much rather than having a staring contest, I decided to do a ponder. And this is awesome. If you can't tell how awesome this is, pretty much because of this card. So here it's going to be like Force of Will, Jace, and Snap. I'm probably going to need to crack this, so I'm not going to be getting the other one. So Force, Jace, Snap. Play this. Equip this. Make sure I tap correctly. Sure. And let's just get rid of this first. I think here I got plains, so I could have all 3. Snap. And this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the 5th Swords effect. Removal City. Like I said, the reason I did that is because I'm going to have some trouble when it comes to killing it and so on and so forth. And that just seems like a I hate you type of removal. I mean, they're not going to be able to do much with it, but could have always waited like I normally do. This gets 2 counters, and now we are taking over 1 city at a time. And apparently they did not want to play anymore. So I did have a Force of Will, Vendilion. This is what I'm talking about. Obviously they have creatures there that they can just vial in, but this at least allows me to get rid of something should they cast it. Say like, what's the Planeswalker I talked about before, Gideon, if they had that. They're probably not going to be playing Cataclysm anytime soon. Good luck with that, you know. And aside from that, I can also use Clique when they go to activate their vial, where if they're actually activating their vial every single turn, end of turn, just to kind of bluff something, then I'm never going to know whether I should use this or not. Once again, just it doesn't. If you're a Death and Taxes player, just use this every turn. I don't care how stupid it looks or how annoyed people get in terms of like responding to you doing nothing. It makes your vials much more powerful because the opponent never knows when you're putting something into play. You see what I mean? Like the only time they were using this is when they played a creature. So if I'm keeping this up and they're tapping it, I know they have a 3-drop in their hand. But either way, a little tips from a Death and Tax player. I used to play that deck before, which is why I have such a fun time playing against it because I pretty much know it in and out. That was the game. I'd say Swords to Plowshares was maybe the MVP, or True-Name and Jitte was the MVP. I mean, goodness. Like I said, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I used one and then one got exiled. That was pretty insane. But either way, a fun game against Death and Taxes. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.